first one captioned it, so of course, I'm gonna make sure that you get a lot of love and that, I make sure that you get these songs and, I make sure you get everything you need cleansed. I'll do some drops for you.
I've been shining under city lights. All this doubt around me, damn it, look, I got it right. Don't you try to hit me, now you live a petty life. All those nights I laid awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. You been stuck just where you at because you never tried. Want a better life, I had a try, I bet it right. Yeah, I just took a chance and yeah, let me write. Look, I just took a chance and yeah, I rolled the dice. Yeah, women I'll be bad because the fuck was nice. But yeah, I must admit that this ain't overnight. I just hit the double with the jackpot. I'm in the snow, this in New England, but I'm dying high. Now I'm an addict for the music when I can't stop. Ain't gon' let me anywhere to ask me. Ask a favor with a shout out to gas me. Really, they ain't take a risk, but want the outcome. Then asking how come. I've been shining under city lights. All this doubt around me, damn it, look, I got it right. Don't you try to hit me, now you live a petty life. All those nights I laid awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. You been stuck just where you at because you never tried. Want a better life, I had a time.
I'm all in this, I call the shots, I never call it quits. Trust my intuition, bet it's right and bitch, it often is. Seen too many others come and go, they had the wrong intent. Do it out of love and never for it, then I watch it get bigger than expected, don't second guess it, I let it set it. It's God's plan, we out here only accepting blessings. I'm stuck with it, this mindset is terminal. In and out different terminals, leveling up is personal. And I already made it, y'all can miss me. I smack my girl's ass.
Alright, y'all, tune in for another episode of Banked Out Radio Show. I'm your host, Andreas, and as you see, we have a special guest in the building. Just trying to get rid of all these freaking ants. But,
They're floating.
What did you say that, was it Iggy or?
E.G.
Sorry, E.G. That's the other pseudonym.
It is, but previously they know me as Lissa Luigi.
Yeah, Lissa. Part of 1/3, the group who were assigned to Mosaic Entertainment back in the day. Fresh out of here, Macon, Georgia. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
First solo interview. So I appreciate that.
It
you know what I'm saying? You didn't have to come here, even though you were like a little set up by Sloan, but
Yeah, Sloan set me up, but it was a good setup.
It was a good setup though. I definitely enjoyed that conversation we had last week. So let's get into it for other people who will learn about your professional career. So y'all was out here killing it on the scene as far as performances and stuff, winning all these showcases or open mics or however you would like to call them, these platforms.
Yeah.
So then the situation comes along where different industry people are taking notice.
Oh yeah, big names.
Big names.
Everywhere. Breaking stages, literally. We were literally breaking stages.
I remember this whole, I kept hearing about 1/3. So y'all signed with Mosaic Entertainment, and that's the entertainment management.
Yep, with Deborah Annie.
Yeah, Walker Flocker's mom.
Yep.
So what attracted y'all to that particular situation as opposed to any other situation?
The energy matched.
Okay.
One thing about us, including myself, is that we're just full of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the dread slang, and that was all examples of like artists really just letting go.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, when you come from Macon, we embodied that.
Yeah.
That need to let the negative energy go.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we stepped foot on stage, that energy showed. It was like a light switch, and with the artist that Deb had on her platform at the time,
who did she have on at the time?
It was obviously 1/3. We had Flock.
Mm-hmm.
You had OJ. You had Cartier, Nino Cahoots, Woo the Kid, French Montana at the time.
Oh, so y'all was like there when it was like really.
Oh yeah.
There with all these.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
We were all on the same tour bus getting it in, or at least sharing some of the same stages and supporting each other even at their personal events. KO, RP to him. But yeah, we all were there together, and everyone's energy. Tavore, she was dope. She was more of an R&B artist, but everyone came with a high level of energy. when Mazay stepped into the building, 1/3 we just fit right into that crew. We just brought a different, obviously a different swag. We were the youngest. We were the babies. Everybody called us the babies at the time. I mean, we were in high school, and maybe even coming out of high school for most of that. And you know, everyone else was like older, experienced in the industry as well. But the energy was unmatched, and so it was just a good fit. Let alone off that.
So how was it? Because I imagine at the time, were y'all legally 18 years old, or all of y'all? Or at least around that age, or did y'all have to have parents sign off on the contracts as well?
Oh yeah, parents were really involved. Sometimes too involved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, there were moments where we maybe felt they should have been more involved. Because again, we were very young and inexperienced, and our parents, you know, it's not like they had kids before us who had been in this industry before, so. We were learning together, despite age. Like, we were legit learning together everything about this industry and trying to make the best decisions for us, for our future careers and for our families. But we were right at like 18, 19. Voris is the oldest. I was the middle. CJ is the baby. But he was always like big brother to me. So it was just kind of one of those things, you know, we kind of played off of that. Sometimes I was big sis, sometimes Voris was big brother. But Voris and I were in the same grade. CJ was just one below us at the time. But there were times in our career where we had to get in the clubs and then go out immediately because we were not 18. That's before Mazay.
Okay.
You know, we were performing well before then, but we were used to it. Back when the Dirty Iguana and the Rock was popping, you know, we had to slide in there, slide out, go to school the next day, catch the bus. We had some nights where we literally get off from a show and literally the same clothes and go straight to school. But it was fun. It was fun. We didn't go to the same school. That helped penetrate a lot with our career. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
This was it. So, what was the mindset of, like, you know, your parents or your situation individually as far as getting signed? Because, you know, that's new, right? There's no blueprint for that.
It isn't.
And then even from a parent's perspective, of course, you know, parents want to protect and all that, but then now people understand the music business a whole lot more, but look what all the artists had to go through to be able to get to that point of understanding now. And I'm talking about decades of, you know, contracts and stuff getting leaked, or even just talking about certain stuff.
Right.
So was your situation where, you know what I'm saying, your parents like, you know, a little hesitant of you actually signing, or were they very encouraging, or?
It was a mix.
Okay.
Our parents, they kept a close relationship through the process as much as they could. And, you know, they tried to like get out and get information from different lawyers, but it's just hard to trust, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your kids. And you don't want anyone to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
It was kind of inevitable. You know, we ran into some really shady situations with just not just promoters, DJs, management. You know, some stuff was just kind of very unclear, and to this day, some stuff is still unanswered. You know, for our career together. And
did you do you care to speak on any of that, or do you just want to leave that in the past?
You know, I'm not afraid to speak on it. It's one of those things where, you know, I think, you know, Macon deserves to kind of know our perspective on it.
Okay.
You know, we recorded music. We have music together that even we don't have because of our lack of knowledge. And, you know, we were young and we saw it just living our life. Like, we're just having fun. We legit love music. And we were just having fun. And we didn't expect, you know, we trusted everybody. And when you're young and you're in the industry and you on this tour and in this show and doing this cameo or in this studio, you know, shaking hands with these many people, all you're doing in a moment is like living in that.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine there's so much newness that you're being exposed to. And, like, these are the people that you see on TV and all that, so you're a little starstruck, and you know, it's still like unsurreal moments.
It is, and I do think that there were a lot of people that really did try their best to have our best interests. Honestly, I know that at one point Mr. Trace had our best interests. I can speak on that. I know for a fact Deb had her, you know, best interests, especially in what I went through personally. You know, everyone's kind of probably questioning, you know, my switch over and my image and how that affected the group and what does it mean for Lissa Smith personally. And, but I know that at that moment in time in the industry, Deb was only trying to protect us.
Yeah.
And protect me, so because I was still young and my brothers deserved to have a chance, and so you know, and our parents did the same thing. They wanted us to experience something that they even never thought that we accomplished.
Yeah.
And they saw the brightness in our eyes, and they saw our want to do it.
Yeah.
I was a schoolhead.
Yeah.
I was a nerd. I'll tell you straight up.
Yeah.
You know, my mother and my dad were big on school. My grandparents, you know, their whole thing was, you're going to college, right? You're going to get out of here. You're going to go to college. My mother has been a single parent mother. She's worked my whole life. And she was just always big on, no matter what you do, put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Take care of what takes care of you. She hears me say that. There you go, Mom.
Yeah.
Take care of what takes care of you.
Like
and I don't even think she knew that music is what I was going to think was going to take care of me. So she went with it. You know, she was supportive, but it was funny. She actually, in like the contract or per the agreement, my mother was big on me at least finishing 2 years. And there was a period where Deb had me traveling to Macon to go to Macon State to finish classes. So I would come and get driven to class at Macon State in Macon here, and then I'd go right back to Atlanta and I'd pick up wherever the boys were. Rehearsal, studio session. If we were writing on a song, I'd make sure it was written on the roll, and I would go right into, you know, wherever our regular schedule was. But the good thing is she made it out to where it's not any of us never missed out.
Yeah.
It was just, okay, well, if she's got school Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, then we know from 8 to 1:30 can't do much.
Yeah.
Similar to making to go to school. As we progressed in it, obviously, that didn't last too long because it just got really deep and our momentum was picking up so fast that it was hard to keep that.
Yeah, logistically that would have been very hard. So how long were y'all officially signed to management? To management with Mizé?
I want to say it was about 3. I want to give it 3 years.
Okay, so that's the only management y'all had?
Before we were we had, I don't know if you guys remember. You guys remember Platinum Radio, Platinum TV?
Yeah, I vaguely remember. You know, I'm not from Macon, but I do remember hearing about that though.
Okay, so Platinum was actually a studio that was open downtown Macon, on Second Street.
Second Street,
right across from the Cox.
Okay,
where we recorded the first video, which is if you watch that YouTube. On YouTube, there's a video about the day we were doing the video, and we were on the corner and we were talking about how just across the street, you know, we recorded, and really that's where 1/3 was created. That's where we found ourselves and found each other, honestly, and our friendship just grew out of right in that downtown area. Back when First Fridays, where they would block out the streets. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but they would block out the streets, and like, you know, people would be on the corners, and there were ice cream shops and food trucks, and people just walking, playing the guitars, and we would just get a corner or go in the studio and record. But there was the Platinum was our management prior to that, and they opened up a lot of doors for us as well, helped us try to find our way and find our voice. Because there is some information that I learned even at that time that I go back to this day. That at the time I didn't get because I'm young and hard-headed and a little selfish. But as I grew as an artist, even as a solo artist now, I've learned to kind of pace myself and allow the things that come in my head, lyrics, rhymes, lines, to take their time throughout your songs. You don't have to try to compile everything into one verse. But when you're young and you're a lyricist, it doesn't, you're learning the world as you're saying it at the time. Like a lot's coming to fruition, so you tend to try to like go super lyrical or like super deep in one verse instead of just letting the song have its theme and let a song have its idea and its, you know, let it have its mantra. And so I've learned that now, but I learned that with our previous management when they would be like, "Listen, dumb it down some." At the time I was defensive, like, "What do you mean dumb it down? You want me to dumb it down? I ain't dumbing nothing down, you know. I'm not gonna dumb nothing down for y'all. What do you mean? I'm gonna rap, you know." And I realized that what they were really saying is like music takes its time.
It does. It really does. Okay, so y'all go through this whole period of a few years. You're on the road, you've been exposed to all these different territories and stuff like that. What, during that time, what's like the best things that you're experiencing, and what are some things that you learned about the industry that you didn't necessarily know prior to getting into it, or that you didn't like really like?
Interesting. One thing I think we learned, or that I learned, was just how involved A&Rs are. 1/3 We wrote our own hooks. We wrote our own verses. We put together our own bridges. We picked our own beats. And a lot of artists, you know, who have these hit songs, or a lot of these artists, you know, it takes a team. And now I pay attention on Apple Music. When you go to the bottom, it says written by, you know, produced by, and things like that. You start to realize that sometimes for a lot of these artists, they need multiple ears and say-sos in the music to create the song you want. And at the time, One Third didn't know of that thing. But luckily enough, we were blessed with a guy named Serge, who was awesome, who helped us try to like create even bigger songs. And at that time, we didn't realize that we could. And he didn't have impact like that. He would just like give little pointers here and there, you know, and it's just like, oh snap. Okay, think big. So he taught us how to think bigger. You know, so that's one thing I think that I learned. Also, the industry is really small. We traveled to California at one point. We did a photo shoot at the time with who was Young Money's like top photographer at the time, I believe. And they invited us out to Malibu, and we stayed there with the whole entire Mizay family. It was mad dope, had a ton of fun, and all of us got a photo shoot with this particular photographer who was associated with this family. And you know, so you realize just how small, you know, the industry really is.
It is.
And all it takes is for you to just have a good face, you know, and kind of stay out of negativity as much as possible, and keep your face clean, your face card good with people, because you never know when you're going to cycle back around and meet them again. That was also the first experience we had performing at an actual label. We had the opportunity to perform at a label. One of the people that I remember was Memphis. I think a lot of people remember him. He was one of those guys at the table. Also, Justin Bieber's DJ. We met him while we were floating that same label at the time. And literally, it was like, it's way different than what you get now. You can get on social media now and promote yourself.
Yeah.
You can pretty much create your own fan base. You know, you have all these avenues to do so. But at the time, it was all about getting to that table. Getting in front of those people and at those labels, and you had one shot, and you would perform 2-3 songs, and they literally dismiss you from the room, and you sit outside, and you wait for them to make a decision on whether you are what they call lit or not. And so that was different. It was new, and we were all anxious. I'm talking about, we were sitting outside anxious, but we were looking at the walls and seeing all the different artists who had come through, looking at the elevator, not knowing who finna come through. You know, we still young. But I don't think that at the time we even knew that was a component involved of like just taking it to that table.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
So with that, because you know, as we having this conversation, you know, questions just
all good. Shoot them to me. Shoot them to me.
Right. So I would look at that as a good and bad thing, right? I would say it's great because you really get to understand how talent is really curated. But it's bad because it's a process and it's a funneling system. But when you flip it with the social media, because everyone has access now, right, to create a fan base, but they're not necessarily created or curated at the level that they should be prior to coming out on social media.
Facts.
See, you see where they are.
Facts.
I'm going with this.
Facts.
The fact that we have instant access to be able to deliver stuff doesn't necessarily mean if you went in the studio and recorded this one song doesn't mean that it's needed to be put out there for people to hear and to try to consume, or even put it out as a teaser or whatever, because it might not be up to par, but because you have us as individuals and everything have access to be able to do that, we don't think about what it takes to really get to a person who gets signed, right?
Right.
For someone to want to invest in you, and I'm like, I already know the numbers and stuff like that, but that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions, depending on what the situations at play. That's a lot of money to want to try to have to flip back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's seeing that y'all had potential, that y'all was already out here grinding prior to, you know what I'm saying, doing that. And I think social media that's a downfall to that. There's no curating the craft level to where, you know what I'm saying, it takes it from just being here to like up here so it can go to there. They're just coming out the gate or whatever, and they're like down here or whatever. And I'm like,
freedom can hurt you, and freedom can help you.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. you know, as artists now, there's a lot of freedom. And I think that what happens to a lot of artists is they initially just kind of get out there. You never know when that thing's gonna pop. And whatever image or whatever message you're putting out there at that moment, artists tend to have to be forced to follow that. You know, I've got a sense of what that's like on the bad side. You know, when you have to like control what you're putting out there to people. You know, people who know me, I mean, this is obviously a hometown interview. People who know me know that, you know, what y'all saw, big picture of Lissa in 1/3, this is a great example of that, is not who everyone knew Melissa to be. And to some people that brought a big question mark, or like that emoji that gives you the side eye. Let's just say I got a lot of like, oh my God, you bad. Girl, you know, you're beautiful. And then I got a lot of, what in the world is she doing? I ain't rocking with that. Because that ain't Lissa. And everyone who knew that knew it wasn't me. But like what we're talking about is there's this thing called controlled substance. And at the time, the industry had a lot of control over the image of what hip hop looked like. They controlled a lot about, you know, what was considered a hit or not. The streams didn't control that. The machines did. They controlled what they considered sexy looked like, and they controlled what masculine looked like. And if you were R&B, there was a certain look an R&B artist had to have. If you were a woman, female artist, there was an image that you had to have, and they weren't accepting anything else. If I was a solo artist at the time, I would have walked away. But it would have been really, really selfish of me and unloyal of me to have walked away from this opportunity based off of a decision that was like my opinion about womanhood at the time. And I looked at my brothers and I saw their families, and I saw, you know, their now wives and kids, and if I hadn't made that decision like the labels wanted me to make, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere past probably dead. We wouldn't have probably even got a chance to sign with Deb, because that was kind of the biggest thing was, you know, hey, they're not ready for MA now. You know, they weren't ready for that masculine female rap artist at the time. And so you know, that's just like an example of what I've gone through personally and what I've experienced in the industry, and how they control even down to your look, and you know, you got to do this in order to move forward.
Yay, food! Thank you, Val. You get up for yourself?
I did this in the car from ready to go. The kids have started they miss their mommy crap again.
Well, you know.
And the guy didn't give me a straw.
That's fine.
Yeah. So yeah.
Water's in the fridge.
If you don't want you want a water, you might want. You sure? Because they kind of froze. So
I might get one. We just got to the good part. Actually, you gave us a great segue. All good.
Hold on, that's super frozen.
No, she wasn't playing. They're like legit frozen right now.
Oh wow.
Take one out, let it thaw out for a second.
I also got body armor if you want that.
Oh yeah, that's probably good. It's not a lot of carb in there. Or you can pull out one of those waters.
That's it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's super frozen.
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's all right. I ain't had too much carb today. It'll be all right. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I definitely get there now. I think, you know, it takes people like yourself to reach a level of success for people to really understand what's all at stake, all the very moving points and stuff. You know, I try to educate people on it a long time ago, but sometimes it falls on deaf ears, and then also just the level of commitment that you have to achieve, like, you know what I'm saying, success like that.
Oh yeah.
I definitely want you to, like, you know, speak a little bit on that, because I see it all the time. I've been seeing it for the last, let's see, I came back to making, I think 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. So it's going on 10 plus years now that I've been back. And I say this all the time, you know, for people to want to achieve a certain level of success like that, to be able, this is what you focus on full time.
Right.
You know, you got to be able to commit to it. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing else. It's just like, you know, some saying that somebody wants to make it to the NBA. You got to be able to commit to that process and have that dedication. I imagine that's the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I went to etiquette classes. Miss Deb threw my butt in etiquette classes. I had to learn how to put makeup on. I'm like, man, you know, lucky enough at the time, obviously there was a woman in my life, so you know, I was able to easily kind of like show me what I'm supposed to do right now, you know, and but I picked it up quick. Working out was a big thing. You know, we had a workout schedule. We had to go to the gym. The boys, she had the boys in the gym heavy. She had those guys. She had me running. For me, it was stamina, keeping my body right. We did vocal lessons with Jan Smith. I mean, listen, try finding a female rap artist who don't know how to sing and put her in front of Jan Smith and ask her to hold a note. I mean, we would be in there. I mean, but she made it fun, you know. And we'd laugh, including Boris. He always wanted to sing, you know. So it was just like, you know, the only person who shined in that realm was CJ. He has a beautiful voice, and he, you know, he helped us a lot. But you had two rappers in the group looking at each other like, we not gonna hit this note. But she helped us learn about vocal cords. So you have to learn a lot about your voice and your pitch. I tend to have high peaks when I rap. My producer, shout out to Jay Neutron, he heard that early on. He used to be like, man, it's such a high pitch, and it was hard. We were trying to mix my stuff, and I'm like, I don't, you know, they're men. They've never had to, you know, mix a female voice. It was those type of challenges. But, you know, vocal lessons. I mean, I had days where she'd have me walk up and down the steps in heels because I had never worn heels before. You know, but you have to dedicate yourself. Like when we stayed up there, I would get up, work out. There was one, I mean, it was days, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, you better get up and get on it. And we were on set schedules. It's no place, no joke. You miss this flight, you want to. Yeah. You know, you can't afford it. Time is money. Don't miss any flights. Don't have too much fun the night before. Get your rest. We you know, usually kept a lot of water around us. Even in the music process, like, to this day, just your ear and how you hear beats. Because everyone can come to you and say, I make beats. I produce. In the real world, there's a big difference between the two.
Say this all the time.
A lot of people don't
There's
get
a beat
that.
maker and then there's a producer.
And there's a producer.
Producer is a director when you're in the studio to
Right.
help bring the song out.
Yes.
And to get you to do different things to make the song better.
Yes.
A beat maker is just somebody who just laid down a good, you know, tracks and everything, and, you know, put it together as far as production, just sent it on. They have nothing else. That's where it stops. And there's a lot of beat makers who call themselves producers, so, you know, hey, whatever.
You have to be humble though. You gotta be humble because there are gonna be times in your career where people gonna tell you no. Like there's been so many songs, even some of my most current songs, you know, I make, and you really might be the only one that likes it. You have to be prepared to hear no. And I think when we signed to Deb at the time, that might have been like our first time really hearing like, nah, you know. And she would always give this real weird, stern look that's kind of put a little bit of weirdness in you, like man, is she gonna like this or not, you know? And at the end of the day, she would or she wouldn't. But you know, you have to be prepared to hear no, because as an artist, you're gonna love everything you create. But you gotta realize that your audience is almost just as important. Yeah. And you have to think about what your music is saying to them. What environment are you putting them in? What mood are you putting them in? What are you telling them? What are the messages that you're sending out to them? And so there were moments where we looked at it for the energy. You know, is this a, you know, relationship song or hip hop club? You know, is this, you know, Dirty South? Is this giving me UGK vibes or not? You know, and then there was a moment where we sit and listen to what we're saying. You know, and that's just to make sure that our messages were not completely different. Even though as 1/3, a lot of times it was. That's what made the group. 1 out of 3 of us was always different from the other 2. No one ever knew why the name was 1/3. It wasn't because we were coming up with some cheesy fraction. Legit, whether it was what we're gonna eat today, what beat we want to record first, what we want to wear at a show, which show we want to do for the nights that we had to choose. It was always 1 out of 3 of us who were like, no on the other thing. So
I love it. I was actually thinking, like, you know what I'm saying, I was sitting there thinking that maybe it was just due to, you know, I thought my rationale behind it, the name made sense because there's 3 of y'all and y'all each represent 1/3 of the group.
Yeah.
But maybe that was just too simplistic or too just logical. You know
And
what
we
I'm saying?
did. I mean, there was a lot of actually that way isn't far from it as well, because you got to think about, you had one female rap artist, you have one male rap artist, and then you have one artist that just does both. You know, who does it well. And so, you know, we all meshed together and made it, you know, what it was. So again, 1 out of 3, one female artist, one male rap artist. All right, and you got one singer. You know, so it was fun though. I mean, it was the Fugees that everybody wanted to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go on, and then, you know, y'all transition away from that situation, and now, you know what I'm saying, just to like
I left Macon. I ran from Macon with my eyes closed. There was a period of my life where I don't think I knew who I was anymore.
Okay.
I had never seen myself without my brothers. You try coming home with nothing to show for your success. You try coming home to answer to your image, why that changed. Who are you, Lissa? You know, that's the wall I ran into.
Yeah.
Who are you now? You know, who are you now? Why did you do that? That was tough for me, because no one really knew that I was transitioning into a different person. And then a lot of it was a lot of depression too, honestly. And that's just me being honest. You know, I never asked for nobody's sympathy. That's, you know, that's why I left, so I could handle my business and get myself together. Yeah. But there was a period in my life where it really did seem like everybody around me was taking 10 steps forward, and I was taking 10 steps back. And I didn't want that life and that depression, those suicidal thoughts, that therapy I needed, that mental breakdown it took me through. I didn't want to carry that with me. In the process, you hurt yourself, and you hurt the people around you. And there was a period where I literally was spinning down this real dark hole, right? And I didn't even know how to answer to who I was now. I felt like it was easy for the boys, and that's just my opinion. I felt like it was easy, because it just seemed like we touched down and they just hit the ground running their separate ways. And for me, I was just kind of in the back, like, what's really going on right now? You know, I found out kind of like on an online basis, you know, that the split had happened. We never had a conversation that we were separating as a group. There was not a single conversation about that. It was just...
I'm like, that hurts. Whatever.
You know,
it's y'all as a group making collective decisions and stuff like that, and then to find out that, okay, the dismantling of a group comes online, you're like, what? You know,
it's just something everybody watched. Yeah. It was just something everybody watched, and I couldn't handle it. And so I gained weight. I had some things that happened positively though. Like I had some negative things happen, you know, the mental, emotional, even physical breakdown happened. But I had a moment where my dad, it was my dad actually that said something to me one day that sparked a fire in me for me to pick it up and just move and figure my life back out. And what he told me before I left Macon, he said, you got to get your respect back.
I like that.
He said, you got to get your respect back. And while I didn't want to swallow that, because I want to say I ain't lose no respect. I'm good. Family, loyal, friends, love me. You know, extended family, they ain't gonna never leave my side. You know, I wanted to be a little like defensive against that at first. But when I left Macon, that was my time to meditate. And so for about 5 to 6, you know, going on 7 years, I was gone from Macon. And that was my meditation period to find out who Melissa was again. And in that period, as I was developing and growing into the woman I am now, this is where the Fresh Market came about. Okay. I started being more cautious about what I allowed my thoughts to be. Okay. I started being more cautious about what I allowed my body to consume. I started being more cautious about my expectations of what a friend should be, what family should be. That blood is different, right? You know, sometimes blood ain't always your closest, and sometimes the people from the outside who you never saw coming would be the people who help change your life for real in your darkest times. And so the Fresh Market came about in that mindset of me developing. It's not necessarily a reflection of like most clothing lines, they represent, you know, who you are right now in this present moment. I'm confident, I'm empowered African American woman, love my melanin. You know, you got all these, you know, Billionaire Boys Club and all these different things that represent kind of like, this is who we think you are because that's your title, you're wearing it. For me, the Fresh Market was a process, and it took years. But it helps remind me of what I need to do to keep moving in a fresh direction. So it's like a renewing of your mind, a renewing of your spirit, a renewing of just overall your entire being. Although that transition from, you know, the 1/3 image of me being extremely feminine and that being completely different than who I was, like that's polar to who I was prior to that, and it actually meshed itself in this process to who I am now. And now I learned at that moment to respect womanhood so much more. And so now I'm like pro women in leadership, and you know, pro even black women in leadership, and I took that personally, even in my career that I took on in the last 7 years. And so I've been working with the company, and I started off as a store manager, ran 2 stores, became a district manager, ran an entire state, you know, had like 50 employees reporting to me, moved up again to a trainer where I had 300 people reporting to me. I was responsible for a lot, and it meant a lot to me in that fresh lifestyle, because here I am literally impacting and developing other people around me and preparing a place for future leaders to come behind me and do the same thing. This young girl from Macon, and it's especially women, right, in male dominated industries, and the technology. I was in the tech field. I'm in the tech field, and you know, that is a male dominated industry as well, and I rocked it out. I knocked down some doors the same way I do with music as a female artist. And it's all about consistently knocking down those doors. And so Fresh Market just reminds me to just constantly renew yourself every day and be, again, cautious about letting go of those toxic ideas and that toxic lifestyle, and not allowing toxic things to dismantle who you are and who you're trying to become.
That's what's up. You remind me of someone who's innovative and intentional.
I'm very intentional.
Very intentional. I can tell just by the way that you're describing everything. So like, you know, you have this resurgence, you have this newfound idea of what you want to accomplish. So what are you putting out there as far as like, do you like, because I talk to a lot of different business people. Do you, are you setting goals for like, you know, so your clothing and your music?
Oh yeah.
You know, some people are, you know, they're winging it. They're just wanting to see how it goes.
Throwing it out there.
They're winging it in the sense of they just want to see what sticks for right now, and then they'll go back and reshape and stuff. But you seem to be more of a strategist.
I am. I think that being in corporate America, I've spent the last 4 years away from Macon, while I wasn't just away from Macon doing nothing. I've been in corporate America, and I've learned a lot about business. And so now that I'm approaching my career and approaching my fashion line alongside a design line that's coming with that as well, I do have an entire business brand folder, and I do have executive summaries and building out, you know, what my 12-month growth plan looks like, and you know, watching revenue, gross margin, and also watching your audience and seeing, you know, how and where people demographically are attaching to what it is you're putting out there. And so yeah, I am, and I'm doing it solely all me. I you know, there's this thing going around right now that's like, go get that bag. You know, Lissa went and got that bag, and I brought the bag home, and I'm back in Macon right now, and I'm putting that love, I'm putting that newness, I'm putting that support, that live like lifestyle behind everything I'm doing right now, and it couldn't have happened in better timing. I used to want it to happen a year ago. I wanted it to happen when I left the group. You know, I wanted it to happen when I moved from Macon. And sometimes I thought it would happen overnight, but I'm actually thankful for my process. Because again, I wouldn't be the strategic person I am now if I had not taken on that career and built those relationships with people even there that have talents outside of what we were doing. across states, and I had meetings with people out in London who I now connect with constantly about music, and we started about our business. We meet on Wednesdays, and now we connect online about all the time. And but yeah, I mean, I am definitely very business minded. But I also know how to turn it off. Like, I'm a fun person. I'm not a stuck up, like, I'm always about business. Like, nah, like, you're hearing my music now. Like, I am down with living life, being proud about your moment, whether you're having fun, brag a little bit. Because if you don't do it for yourself, nobody's going to do it for you.
Exactly.
So you got to love you. And I think that, my music's going to show you a lot of that confidence that I have now. And it's also, if you listen to the lyrics, you also hear a lot of like, I'm fully representing who I am. And I love it. Yeah.
Well, I know you brought some music to play and stuff like that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, play what you want to play.
Okay.
And then, for everybody out there who's going to be catching this,
Oh, yeah.
y'all going to hear the snippets on y'all side. So, the actual full song or however long she going to play it going to be edited out.
We're going to kick into it. We got one record I love called Worried About Me.
Okay.
I'm going to let you hear Worried About Me. Worried About Me will be a single that I'll be releasing, but it will be on my project that'll be coming out soon. And Worried About Me came about in my first transition coming home.
Okay.
So Worried About Me is about me coming home facing the world, was what it felt like. You're facing the world. It always felt like it was me against the world. And I'm responding to, Lissa, where you been? Lissa, what's going on? What you're really about right now. And, why they always worried about me?
Yeah.
Why? Don't worry about me. I'm good. You should have been worried about me 8 years ago. That's when I needed you to worry about me. Don't worry about me now because I got it together. I got it. I'm good. So let's kick you off to that. I'll let you hear that for sure. Okay. And let's do it. So I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Let me get into the cash now. Bunch of wolves in the background, begging me to let them tag out. Top 5, how they brag bout. Time off, but ain't foul out. Brought it back like a takeout. They praying, hoping I would tap out. I'm in your city like mad stock. Break that bitch down to my landslide. We in that bitch till the fans come, cause I'm on go. Popping my shit till I'm way out of breath, cause I'm on the road. Ain't stunting no hater that's talking that talk from the rear. They wanna know why. Rapping like mummies, my chain and my door. Smiling in faces like pick your hoe up. My zombies come round like it's late in October. Hit the engine, come round like a bang in the motor. I'm living vida that loca, however you say it. She fucking come over, got a trunk full of bass and it's sitting like shoulders. Now let's take it back.
It can go all day. I can go all day.
All right, y'all.
All good.
Y'all gonna hear snippets, or you just heard some snippets. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
My ears are pleasantly pleased. I listen to a lot of music. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can put that on repeat.
Oh, I love it.
Right now.
I appreciate it.
I'm for real. I can't wait till you release it or whatever. We got a date for that yet, or
we do. We do. So the Fresh Market will be releasing. I'm shooting to go before September 1st.
Okay.
For the clothing. My music, however, I'm hoping for middle of August.
Okay.
So I'm thinking like August 15th, August 16th.
But,
only reason it's a little bit of a hold up right now, because obviously as a business person, you want to make sure your stuff's lined up, man. You're not talking to a rookie right now.
Yeah.
I am waiting on a couple of more documents to come in. I'm waiting on a couple of more clearances to come through.
Yeah.
I actually just secured a feature that's pretty big.
That's what's up.
Right now. That's gonna be on there that I'm waiting on. And yeah, so it's a couple of little things I'm pulling together. Shout out to Tony, my cousin, Tony Fair. He's gonna be shooting, gonna do a video for all the projects, and so I want to have all this stuff ready. And so we've been working.
Yeah, I ain't seen no videos from him in a while.
Oh yeah, he's working, man.
Yeah.
He's been on it. He actually just celebrated. Shout out to him. He just celebrated, I think, over 4K subscriptions or something he was celebrating today, which is a big deal. So I mean, he's been doing commercials and not just music
that's
anymore.
what I'm saying. Like, I saw him moving in a different direction.
There's a lot of videographers showing love that I'm gonna be working with. Not just him, but he's been, right there. He's been a big supporter for me, even when music wasn't coming out this way for me. Because I've been recording all years. I didn't leave the mic solely, Thanks to my wife, she threw me in the studio. Listen, I'm one of those people that if I don't let it out, move. Yeah. I become very angry, impatient. And I don't know it. Some people say, "Oh, you just being a woman," but no, in reality, I need to get in the booth. I need to rap. But there's been some times throughout the last couple of years where I have released a little bit here and there. Like, you know, I've done some stuff with CJ, done stuff with Voice, done stuff with some other artists out there in the Atlanta area. You know, met a lot of different engineers and, you know, allowed different people to record and work with producer-wise. And, you know, so I never really stopped.
Yeah.
I just didn't, like we were talking about that commitment piece. At the time, I honestly was not ready, and I'm not going to fake it. Yeah. I knew that coming back out, I had to. If I was gonna come with it, I gotta really come hard and come prepared.
Yeah.
This isn't something I'm testing out.
Yeah.
This isn't something that I'm new to as of last year. Literally, music has been a part of who I am, especially to my city and my family, and my friends, since middle school.
Yeah.
So, you know, and with all that I've experienced and all the things that I've seen and learned, and, you know, man, you really can't afford to just kind of put yourself out there. You got to be ready.
Yeah.
And so when this releases come the end of this summer, midsummer, and even on till fall, it's going to come so well planned out, strategically put together. I mean, even I'm putting together a marketing rollout. I'm putting together, you know, the DJs who have their hands involved. I'm gonna have different promoters behind me as well, and getting all of my brand ambassadors together. That's my biggest thing right now for my clothing lines. We're bringing my brand ambassadors to cut together. We're gonna be creating commercials with these brand ambassadors, and I'll be involving a lot of artists, like making artists too. You know, involved in this process, and so that way, when I do come out, it feels new, even though it'll be a familiar face.
Yeah.
And if it's not a familiar face, because obviously I've cut the dreads, went low haircut, now I'm starting back over.
Yeah.
But the voice will be familiar to a lot of people, and I think that when that come out, because I have been going so long, there's gonna be a high bar for Melissa. He's just gonna have to bring it hard, and so I'm actually really proud, and I'm really, really proud to hear that you enjoyed the music, because
like I said, like, and now, like, I tell people the truth.
Thank you.
I don't sit there and
be like,
sugarcoat
hey,
stuff.
it's lame.
I literally had, I can show you my inbox where people send me stuff.
Yeah.
And I had this one time, there was a person, he was in Kentucky, and he sent me some music, and I listened to it. I was like, sounds like you're very new at recording. It's like, yeah, that's just like the 5th song or whatever, but it's a hit. No, sir. You gotta go get some more confidence in your voice, and you gotta understand who you are as an artist. But I get a lot of that all the time. And people know that I built my brand around independent artists and giving them a platform to push them out there. Because, you know, you've seen the system. Yeah. It's major artists, and if you ain't got major backing or something like that, you're really not gonna bubble to the top like you're supposed to, regardless of talent.
Right.
So I want to give everybody the opportunity, and the bigger I keep growing the platform, the more recognition they get, and blah blah blah. Because there's a lot of business to it. So you're basically an entrepreneur. But I got a whole lot of stuff or whatever, and I'm not gonna tell people you should pursue something and there's no potential there. Right. It's a waste of time. Yeah. Why waste someone's time or whatever? You know,
that's why I've had to terminate people before. I've had to tell people, you're not a bad person. This may not just be the best fit for you. And I thank God every day for Him blessing me with the ability to put words together.
And like I can tell, this is your gift.
That's my superpower. I mean, I do a lot of things well. Let my mom tell it. You know, things I touch tend to turn to gold. But I can. Like everything else, you could do it because based off of like this though. Like, okay, so becoming a manager, sales, all that stuff. You can learn that stuff. Whatever. You can't really learn this, not the way that you're presenting it. Yes, a lot of people could put words together, but just the articulation with them, the enunciation on certain words, or whatever, or even how to put them together to where, you know, it makes sense and tells a story. The passion. You cannot teach passion. You sure can't.
You either got it or you don't.
Yeah, and that's honest to God. And staying true to yourself and allowing that passion to shine. And exactly. I think that's what's helped me create this new music is I'm finally activating in that realm of my life. And that's how I knew that light bulb went off and said, Melissa, you're ready. You thought you were ready, but you're ready now. You thought you were ready back then in high school. You thought you was ready when you graduated. You thought you was ready with Tokyo Alley and all these other records that I had put out were out. Man, I've never felt this sure.
Yeah, I can hear it. And just artists, and you're more than an artist, you're a musician too. Because I could tell, like, you're very in tune with the entire process, and not just like, oh, let me go find a beat and put some words together, blah blah blah. You're way more in depth to that. And over time, you have sharpened even what you had at that time. You've sharpened it even. I can tell. If I go back and listen to other stuff, I'm pretty sure I can hear growth and tell that you're comfortable, right? And musicians perfect over time. Like, I don't know why we throw away, especially in the urban department, why we throw away artists, right? They'll come out and then 10 years later, oh, they're nobodies. No, that's 10 years of experience, 10 years of sharpening steel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't do that with any other genre, so stop doing it with, you know what I'm saying, hip hop and rap. But you know, we can get to a whole nother conspiracy.
Oh yeah, I know, stuff,
right? That can go down a whole big old rabbit hole.
Sure
that I think you know what I'm saying, it can go there.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm excited. Like, I can't wait till you drop. Like, that's how, like, I feel like a kid, and like hip hop is reborn. You know what I'm saying? No, for real.
But that's how I want people to feel.
Yeah.
I've always been about people. I mean, obviously, like we've talked about, you know, like anybody who knows me know that I can be very selfless. I am human. I have had my wrongs, and I've had my honest moments.
Yeah.
You know, but for the most part, you know, everything I do is for the people around me to feel good about who they are, and I want people to experience that fresh. That new breath of fresh air. I want people to experience that honestly with everything I do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, who we are is really honestly determined by the people around us. And that doesn't mean I need an entourage. I'm not saying that I need 1,000 people behind me on stage, or that you know, I expect, you know, millions of people to just be traveling with me. No, what I'm saying is that even your fan base, just the people who support you, even outside of your fans, people who aren't buying your tickets, just people that just playing your music or giving opportunities like you are, you know, for them to gravitate towards what you're doing. And I think that, you know, when you're just being honest with yourself and putting yourself out there, people will have that reaction, and it does take time.
Yeah.
You know, I was scared. I was scared to come out. Like when I let some hear it, when I let AD hear it, even when I go home and let my wife hear it, I'm always having this shy moment. If anyone ever talks to Deb, like, she'll tell you, Melissa's shy. You know, it's just when it comes to music, I do care a lot about what people around me think. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be anybody without the support of you guys, and you have to learn to allow people to give you feedback, so that way you can become better. And that doesn't mean you take everybody's advice, because I took some people's advice in my life, and it put me in a very bad place. But you learn to know the pros and cons of different conversations, and you know, opinions and things like that, and you take with you what you feel you need to, and you let the other stuff float in the river where it's supposed to go. So I feel good. I'm glad that you support it, and that it feels fresh to you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm loving it.
It's dope.
Yeah, like I said, I can't wait till it come out, but get out your social media.
Oh yeah.
So this is the part where, you know.
Oh yeah, we're ready.
So let everybody know, you know, where to go, and you know, to follow on social media, where to go. They want to start making purchases, supporting all that stuff.
Gotcha. So guys, listen, check me out right now. While there's a lot coming, I do want to let you guys know that you can still connect with me on social media. You can connect with me on TikTok. Everyone's on TikTok. I will be on TikTok a lot more, especially showing off a lot of my different clothing. So while I'm calling you guys out, I have a kids line coming out. So shout out to the people with families. I got Fresh Market Kids, right? I have a designer line called Leafavilla that will be releasing come winter. This is my designer line. Okay. But as I'm kind of pulling this out, guys, you can check. Boom, we back. We're back up and running. Everyone loves the the Hoochie Daddy shorts these days. But yeah, I got those too. Got the Hoochie Daddy shorts. I got them on today, actually. But yeah, check me out on TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Facebook at Lissa Smith. TikTok, Be Great or Else. And if you are on Instagram, not everybody is a fan. Like, I have some people who say, I'm on TikTok, but I don't post on Facebook. You got some people who still do Instagram, but don't do TikTok. Facebook, Lissa Smith. Instagram, Lissa X Smith as well. I will be releasing my official website as well, and I'm actually I love this idea that I have, and I think people are going to love it, but my website is going to be where you're going to find everything. So my website is going to be where you're going to find exclusive releases for videos, exclusive releases for for like my clothing, right? Yeah. That's also where you're going to find all of my videos, interviews, right, that I do. You'll find that there. Any live broadcasting I'm doing, I'm going to actually host from my website. So be on the lookout here right after August 1st, and you guys will find on my page. I'm going to start promoting that out there, so everyone has a soul place to fall back in love with who I am, and really, and if you don't know me, welcome. I definitely would love your ear and love your support. But yeah, Lissa's coming back out. That's what's up. Lissa's coming back out, so follow me and let's get connected for sure.
Well, ma'am, thank you for bringing me your story.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, I love the music and all that. So y'all make sure y'all go and support. Go and follow all the social media. I'll throw it in there on the editing side as well. Yeah. Y'all make sure y'all go and download the Bang That Radio Show app if you have not.
Got to.
I'm going to hit to that 2,000 mark. But yeah, thank you, man. Definitely, whatever you want me to play, add to the, because the app plays the radio station side as well, and licensed by Sound Exchange. So it gets you.
You're the first one to capture this with me, guys. Can I be honest? Nervous, but I'm over here nervous. Why am I nervous? You're the first one capturing this, so of course, I'm gonna make sure that you get a lot of love, and that I make sure that you get these songs, and make sure you get everything you need cleansed. I'll do some drops for you as well.
That's what's up.
And just to keep things rolling. I'm glad that we built this relationship. Thank you for this opportunity, man. Shout out to Banked Out Radio.
See, y'all heard it here first.
Shout out to Banked Out Radio. They were the first to hear me as a solo artist, and so I just appreciate you giving me the platform to talk about what I'm doing, how I've been, what I've come through, what I've experienced, and there's a lot more where that come from, and we're gonna roll with this music and roll with this line and keep going.
And I'm excited for your release, and I definitely want to see this marketing plan and roll out and everything, because I've been waiting for someone to do it like the way that you're describing. I've been waiting for some other people to do it that way, but hey, sometimes people got to see it first in order to follow in the footsteps of. So but y'all go, y'all check out, and y'all definitely support.
I try to sow seeds, put my drip ain't wet enough for radio or packed arenas. I can barely call on Jesus, cause the church too good to pray for lesbians and sins. But they render the season, for every fall there's a tree, so everybody got a season. It tastes like treason, that's why my whip stay parked till it's American and greasy. My summers ain't even, in my grandma's hands ain't there to make it easy. You gotta believe it, before you can see it, you gotta reach it first. Icy. I can't be fucking with no bitches who ain't rocky. I need a couple bands just to tighten me. You gotta put me on. Ain't no mileage on my flight. She can shout a she. Whoa, she kinda pricey. She like canary yellow diamonds in a timepiece. Took it to the rise. Now she tryna be my wifey. Flirting at the bar. She at the club tryna fight me. I walked in the building like hello. Sliding on ice, shooting shots like Mellow. You can get checked like checks on Melrose. Dressing all black in the corner, rolling Rello. Shawty wanna taste